welcome folks to this special episode of On the Workbench, because normally this series happens at the beginning of the month, but sometimes I get involved in really big projects and I want to put forward a video to give people an idea of what's going on. So today we're going to take a look at two large ships. They're about 3.5 feet long, a little bit over 3.5 feet long for 28 millimeter. And I made these ships, this is the fourth day of the project, so I made these ships out of cardboard and various other materials, and we're going to look at the ships up close. And one of the important thing about the ships and the materials I used is that these ships are supposed to be high fantasy ships, and these are driven by elemental power. So we have in the background, we have the ironclad battleship, which is powered by fire elementals. We'll see that in just a minute. And then we have on the other side, the elf ship, which is powered by both water and air elementals. So, and that is a Tempest class man-of-war ship. All right, so these are the two ships are on opposite side of the studio. So why don't we take a look at these real quick, and I'll give you guys an idea of where the project is. These ships have to be finished by this weekend because we are playing Dragon Rampant, and we're going to be doing it on the high seas with these ships. They're going to be boarding actions. So the first ship is the Elf Man-of-War, and its crew is going to be mixed. It's going to have elves and dwarves and humans, in that sort of forces of nature kind of faction. And we have the air elemental up on top that's pushing the mast of the ship. And then we have the water elementals on each side of the hull that are also pushing the hull. Now, let's check out some of the features that this ship has. And I was able to spray paint most of this. There's still a lot of painting to be done, and that's going to be done tomorrow. Okay, so let's check out some of the features and some of the ideas behind this. Okay, so first things first, I am considering these things game boards in the shape of naval vessels. Okay, so this is completely modular. Everything you see here is separate terrain. So I built all this stuff separately. The elemental here, the mast, the rear area here, all this stuff comes off. The bow of the ship also comes off, okay, in this particular one, so that everything can be stored away, and especially the mast. The mast comes off and comes apart as well. This piece here comes off. This is the boarding ramp, okay, the siege ramp. And it's a working ramp. So all we do is remove this piece here, and the ramp comes down, and so miniatures can cross to the opponent's ship. Here are some paper fasteners, and I used a lot of clothespins to adorn the base. The base is also cardboard, and then it's connected to this dowel, which is the thing that allows the whole piece to spin. Now, there is some counterweight in the back in the form of magnets, large magnets, cheap magnets, and that helps counterweight everything. There's a couple of ballistas here, but I'm going to be making my own weapons for the ships, and I'm thinking arcane ballistas, harpoon guns, hellfire machines, anything like that, that kind of weaponry, bombards. We'll have maybe a couple of bombards. That's all going to be made tomorrow and hopefully painted. There is a space here for a living statue. I'm going to make a living statue for the ships. That'll be really cool during a boarding action if a living statue can kind of climb out and go on the opposing ship and wreak havoc. Now, these elementals are just terrain. They won't do anything. They're just there to show that the ship is elementally powered. And then you have these water elementals. Now this I'm not finished yet. These were done with plastic water bottles, and the plastic water bottles had all of this nice ribbing. So all I did was add a little bit of this silicone, Loctite silicone, and that's how I made like the water, kind of the churning of the water. These things I'm going to be covering the eyes a little bit, so they're not finished. But yeah, that'll tell us that, yeah, this is not natural water. These are elementals that are helping to push the ship forward. Now in the game, this ship is going to be rammed by the other ship that I'm going to show you, or vice versa. I don't know yet. Both ships are going to be, one of them is going to have rammed the other, and then the boarding ramp is going to be down, and so we're going to be doing a boarding action. That's basically the game, okay? But I figured we have some cool ships. Also, this thing here, you can see how I use my clothespins. This is corrugated cardboard. These are Easter eggs that I added. I'm going to add a couple of lines. I don't want to add too much rigging because we need this space open so we can play. So rigging will just get in the way, even though it does look good. This was a vegetable container. That's how I made that terrain. And then it has a nice little cardboard door there made out of corrugated cardboard. So the plan is that this will be painted, and then we're going to add all of these runes. It's going to be covered in runes. I'm going to paint some runes on there, and that's the magic that binds this greater wind elemental to the ship. So it's going to be, living in there, and when it's needed, it comes out and pushes the ship using its magic. So, all right. So I used corrugated cardboard quite a lot for instead of like the railings, and made things very easy because I'm on a time pressure. Okay, and so there's a little bit of ship details. And these were old Oathmark riverboats that I made like 3 years ago, and I still have them, and so they're going to make good lifeboats. I got to make a way of hooking them onto the side of the ships. And they have some banners. And there's plenty of space for miniatures. Plenty of little, firing spaces for archers or like musket men when I get them. Okay, so there's a lot of space to move around. And here on the mast, we have another little spot there where we can place ranged units. And I made the mast thick enough so that the miniatures can cross along if they had to. So there's a lot going on this ship. The deck right now is clear. I'm going to add a couple of little details to the deck. But again, it's kept that way in order to be able to play. There's a nice scorpion ballista, and I'm going to make some more of my own. And you can see how I use my clothespins to adorn the sides of the ship. And it's a quick and dirty way of just bringing some detail to the ship. And then there's these weird like vine-like decorations there as well, since it is an elf ship. And it's a big board. I mean, this is going to be 2 tables, both of our gaming tables together, and the ships are going to be locked in combat. All right, so this is the Elfman of War. Let's go to the other ship. Okay, and here is the Ironclad Battleship. This is the second ship. This is going to be the opposing ship. And this ship is going to have a crew of goblins and orcs and humans. And those are going to be the primary adversaries for Julie. And I saved a little bit of time by using this old laser cut terrain that I had around. I don't remember where I got these, but it's really cool. And I just made like a tower here. This is from a pool filter. This is what was left, the centerpiece of a pool filter, which makes a really good tower. And that has to be painted. And then we have this huge centerpiece. And again, this is all modular. All this stuff comes off. Okay, so all that stuff comes off. And then so here we have the wheelhouses, this terrain piece here, which is the boiler, plus the bridge, little pilot house. And this is what I did with the smokestack there, the chimney. Unfortunately, I ran out of paint. This ship is going to have a red coloration to it, and then the deck's going to be a darker color. But I ran out of paint, so I have to buy paint tomorrow in order to finish this. But this also has a working siege ramp. I finished that yesterday. The cool thing about this ship, and you're wondering, okay, all right, so it's a steamship, right? And yeah, it is a steam ironclad. However, okay, and there inside the boiler are 3 greater fire elementals. Now, I haven't finished painting them, but you can see the mechanism there. There's like all these gears, which I have to paint. And there's these big bars. And then the bottom is decorated with gravel because I'm going to paint that all in black. And that's coal that these elementals are being fed. And of course, the elementals have to be finished as well. And they're completely modular. Those elementals come off as well. But they're cranking the mechanism that rotates the huge paddles in there. So it's their strength, their magic, that is actually powering the ship. Now, the pyromancer on board, or elementalist, he can decide how many elementals are at any time in the boiler, how many are bound in the boiler. And this will help either reduce the speed of the ship or increase the speed of the ship. So I thought that would be a really cool thing. And again, I have to finish painting this. This is not even painted yet because I ran out of paint. I'm going to leave some of the red in there because obviously these guys are like flaring in there. I mean, could you imagine how hot it is in there? So what I'm going to do then is have all of these runes, and I'm probably going to cut them out and glue them on. And basically, those are going to be protection runes to keep the building cool enough that it doesn't, become a hazard for the ship. So there's like protection wards all over this boiler to keep those elementals in there so the heat is concentrated in there. Now, theoretically, there's also some kind of chute or something in here where coal is dropped in. So the ship does carry coal, and that's to feed the elementals to keep them, nice and hot. Okay, so cover's back on, and the elementals are in there. And we also have a couple of guns here, but I think I'm not going to use these. These are very old. I made these a long time ago. And if I run out of time and I can't make the weapons that I want to make for this vessel, then I'll use some of those older cannon. And that's it. A very quick and dirty way of making my doors. And it's nice to have miniatures around to kind of measure them, get a sense of the height of the door. But basically, I peel away a piece of corrugation, and then the material that you peel away, which is actually card in some cases, I save that and cut out a strip of it, a thin strip, and that's what I use to make the margin around the door. Now, if this was a double-sided like dungeon door, I would put another piece back there and then a base. And then to decorate it, I add very small bits of this very card in order to give, like the details there of the latches and all that. And sometimes I use my pliers, and sometimes I use tweezers, and just make sure these areas are elevated. Make sure all of the corrugation peeling is off. And that's it. And then just paint it, to look like a ladder. And I can put this somewhere wherever it's needed. Sticking the ladder in the holes of existing corrugation actually helps secure the ladder as well. So for my elementals, I used wire armature, 18 gauge wire that I got from Walmart, and in the like necklace making aisle. And I make a little armature of the creature, and elementals are cool because they don't have to look humanoid. They can have a very vague humanoid shape, so that makes them really easy to make. And this is pillow filler, which is a lot coarser and than regular cotton, and so it's good because it's coarser. It takes shapes better, but the trick to it is once I've hot glued my cotton in a very rough humanoid shape onto the wire, I use a little bit of fire to shape it up. I use one of these barbecue lighters very, very carefully, and that's what I use to kind of shape it up. Burn away a lot of the like excess filaments, and yeah, it's pretty cool. And that's what I use to make this dark being, a while back. So it's very possible to make stuff out of this cotton. And then the other thing that I use for the elementals is this Loctite power grab all-purpose adhesive. The cool thing about this is that it hardens very, very nicely on the cotton, and it gives you a sort of an area that you can dry brush, and paint with the yellow paint. So it's very good. I like using it on my fire elementals specifically. Okay, and there is my older sailing vessel that I made 3 years ago when the channel first started. And this was the biggest ship that I had at the time. And look at how it's dwarfed by the Man of War. I mean, the Man of War is just really big. But this ship has a lot of cool features, has the deck guns. Things like this come off, and there's more deck guns underneath. Again, you can see a lot of my technique with this ship as well. You can see like a lot of craft sticks and clothespins to adorn the ship, and then there is a rotating wheel on this one. And then this comes off as well, and there's like a little nook and cranny there. We got to fix this deck gun though. Had this, but there we go. We have a deck gun there. Okay, and so it's covered again, and then the rudder sail. Now, what I'm going to do with this big ship now tomorrow is I am going to add rigging all down the sides there of the big mast where the elemental is, just like I did here. And then there is a plastic sail that I have. I already made the sail. I didn't put it on it yet, and I'm not sure if we're going to use it in game, because again, a lot of these details, although they make the ship look cool, they do get in the way of gaming, and so we don't want to do anything that's going to get in the way of gaming. But the sail is modular, so it is made to come off when we need it. Okay, so there are the two ships. And the smaller one there, and yeah, pretty cool. So I have always wanted to do this, and I have a few smaller ships that I can add, for scenarios and things like that, maybe smaller escort ships or whatever. But these are big. These are very, very big, as you can kind of see in the background. And so having these two ships is going to require a very big table, which we do have. So that game is going to take place this weekend. Now tomorrow I have to finish painting these ships. Today I'm going to do the odds and ends, do a few weapons that I want for the deck, couple of little details. The building process is basically done, but there's a lot of little odds and ends that I want to finish, and then paint the ships. That's going to be most of the day tomorrow. Once they're painted, I can set up the table, get an idea of what I need. I would like to have some splashing water. I'm not going to have the chance to do a sea monster the way I wanted to, but that's okay. I mean, this project is probably going to be a week, I would say, because it's already 4 days. Tomorrow will be the 5th day. By tomorrow, I hope everything will be pretty much wrapping up, finishing up. And then hopefully by Thursday or Friday, we get to, Julie and I will be in here. We'll be doing our army lists and start setting up the crews that are going to go on the deck and figure out how they're going to fight. Now remember, this is Dragon Rampant. Dragon Rampant doesn't have boarding rules, or anything like that. So we may have to house rule a couple of little things. But I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be really fun. And more importantly, I get to use these big ships that I built on time pressure, actually. So, but a lot of this stuff is going to be documented on July's Scratch Builder Monthly. Not all of it, because this is a big project. I have hundreds of pictures. So we're going to, little by little, just release it into Scratch Builder Monthly. And for anyone interested in the details of building these big ships, you can see it there. Everything else is very low budget. I try to use recycled materials whenever I can, and I try to use just what I have in the studio to build. All right, folks. Well, thank you very much, and I hope that these will be finished by the weekend so we can play some naval boarding actions using our favorite wargame rules.